Good day. I'm starting off this series wanting to speak with you guys about the home buying process. I realize that there are a lot of questions. I get a lot of calls, a lot of text messages, a lot of instant messages asking, what's the first step? How do I do this? I don't have any money. What do I do? So I want to start doing a series where I'm actually discussing with you all what are the steps to purchasing a home? What is the very first step? What comes next? So usually once I've spoken to my clients and we've gotten through the first couple of steps, on the very first conversation, I usually go through the steps of a home purchase. So that's what we're going to start doing. So today we're going to discuss the very first step, which is your pre-approval. Now, I hear a lot of times pre-approval and pre-qualification are used interchangeably. They're actually not the same thing, and I'm going to discuss that today. So first things first, the pre-qualification and the pre-approval have their role in the home purchase, the home buying process. A pre-qualification essentially is you going into your bank or calling up your bank or lender saying, hey, I'm thinking about purchasing a home. I needed to get some idea of exactly what it is that I need to do. The pre-qualification process essentially is you saying, I make X amount of dollars, these are my bills, this is how much I may have in student loan debt, things of that nature. And then the lender is going to say, okay, based on what you told me, this is how much I think you'll be pre-approved for. This is how much you could possibly make the home purchase for. Now, with that being said, I do get many phone calls from, potential buyers saying, I can afford this much because I pay this much in rent, for example. The thing is with that, how much you're budgeting for is not contingent upon how much you are able to currently afford. How much your pre-approval is going to be for is based on, complex algorithm that the lender runs based on how much you earn first and foremost. If you have any student loan debt, which is a very big thing that I'll discuss in a later date. Also, car payments, credit card debt. One of the big things that is very surprising to a lot of people is if you're paying any type of child support. That really can hamper your home purchase, and you don't find that out until later on in the process. So these are questions that I ask up front when I'm speaking to a client to help us get to the point where you're actually able to go ahead and get your pre-approval started, and we're knowledgeable of where you are in the process, and it's not a surprise to you when you fill out your application and they say, sorry, your credit score is too low, or your student loan is too high, or anything that can really put a damper on your ability to purchase a home. Now, that is your pre-qual. That is what is a pre-qualification. The lender says, you told me A, B, C. Based on that, this is what I think you may afford, and this is how much we think that we could pre-approve you for. That's the pre-qual. Your pre-approval is a much more in-depth, in terms of, verifying your, what you're saying. So what I tell people all the time is, that's the first step is filling out an application, for example, and you put all of this information that they ask you. But now we have to go into verification. So I say, anybody can say, I make $100,000 a year. I don't have any student loan debt. I pay all my bills on time. I'm fabulous. Sounds good. We have to verify that. So that's the next step in the pre-approval process. Now they're going to require that you actually provide documentation to show, what it is that you're saying is accurate. If there's anything, it could be either you actually make more than you thought you made, or maybe your student loan is not as much as you thought it was. There are other things that come into play, which is why the verification is important for all parties involved, specifically the buyer. So after you fill out your application, that is your surface application. That is essentially saying everything that we just discussed. From the top to the bottom, how much you earn, what are What are the, payments that you have to make, whether it's student loan debt, credit card debt, car note, rent, child support. There are a multitude of things that can be a part of your monthly payment. Everybody's situation is different. Now, when it comes to verification, what is necessary now at this point is you have to provide documentation. Now, your documentation is going to be essentially in the very first step, your last 2 years tax returns, your last 2 pay stubs, and your last 2 bank statements. Again, this is to show, hey, what I'm saying is accurate. If it isn't, what is it that we need to do to make it all work and to verify the income even further. One of the other things is, depending on whichever loan program you're using, you will need to show some assets, which is essentially a savings account, a 401k, something like that, showing how you intend to move forward with your purchase. Me personally, as well as the lender, I don't want anyone to be in a situation where now we are out shopping for homes. It's a big, great surprise to you that you need $5,000, for example, in order to get through this transaction. So I like those numbers to be clear to you all up front. Now, obviously, those numbers will change. There are other things that come into play, which I will talk about all of those things going forward. What are the things that you all have to be prepared to pay for with a home purchase? While there are very many down payment assistance programs, purchasing a home is absolutely positively not just free. So there are things that you do have to pay for that the seller cannot. So that is something that we'll address at a later date as well. But right now we're going to focus on the pre-approval process. So you're going to provide those documents to the lender. Usually, most of the preferred lenders that I work with are able to provide you with the pre-approval letter within 24 to 48 hours based on how quickly you're able to provide the documentation. Sometimes we have to scramble to find tax returns, which is usually one of the main things that are hard to locate. Like I don't know where I put them. I can't find the tax preparer, any of those things. There are ways to get around that if that is an issue in order to get a transcript and get a copy of it, but it does play a part in your pre-approval. After you get those documents in and you submit them to the lender, when we have a pre-approval letter, that is what we're actually able to go shopping for your home with. Every single seller, essentially, and every single listing agent wants to see a pre-approval letter with our offer. So, okay, we submit an offer. No pre-approval letter, that's the equivalent of us writing your offer on a McDonald's wrapper. It means nothing. So we have to have something showing, hey, my buyer is capable of purchasing this house, and this is the pre-approval letter proving that. Let's get to the closing table. So that pre-approval letter plays a very, very important role in buying a home. So we cannot skip that step. It's not in your best interest to skip that step. It's not in the realtor's best interest to skip the step, because we're doing you a disservice if we don't explain to you what is necessary in order to move forward with a home purchase. And the very first step is your pre-approval letter. Now, depending on the circumstances, if you and I have had a conversation and you're just kind of interested in what's happening in the marketplace and things like that, we can have a discussion about those things, and I can help you get to the point where you want to say, I'm ready to move forward based on what's happening in the market. I feel like there are homes that may meet my criteria or in my budget, things like that, and you're not quite ready to make the full step towards the pre-approval. I make this comment all the time that I want my clients to guard their credit scores like a ninja. So I don't blame you if you don't want to go through the whole pre-approval process until you know that you're actually ready and willing and ready to move forward with a home purchase. That's where, again, the pre-qualification comes into play. That helps you ascertain exactly where you are financially, what kind of pre-approval you can possibly get, and then you can say, okay, great, sounds good. Now I'm ready for pre-approval. Let's move forward. Or you can say, you know what, there's some things that I want to clean up, and based on this information on the pre-qualification, I want to pay down my credit cards. I have a couple of months left on my car notes. I want to pay that off before I move forward with a home purchase. So there are a number of things that come into play when you're preparing, which we all should be preparing for a home purchase and not just walking into it blindly. If you're wanting to purchase a home, the very first step is your pre-approval, at the very least a pre-qualification, helping us to be able to marry the two and help you reach your goals. Because at the end of the day, the home ownership is a very big goal, but it can be very daunting if you're not ready to move forward and you don't understand exactly what goes into purchasing a home. So today, pre-qualification, pre-approval, let's get you to the closing table. Next time, I will be discussing the next step in the process, which is home shopping and managing expectations. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. I'm very, very accessible, specifically in my inbox on Facebook, or text me or call. I know these days we don't pick up the phone and call people as much as we used to, but yeah, give me a call. I'm very, very accessible. I have no qualms with answering questions and kind of guiding you as to what we should do and what we shouldn't do. If there's work needed, I will let you know and how to go about doing the things that we need to do to get prepared for that home purchase. So yeah, call me. My number is 404-397-4317. Or you can text me, again, on my cell phone, or reach out to me on Facebook. I'm pretty accessible morning, noon, and up to a certain point at night. So any questions, pre-approval, pre-qualification, very first step in home purchase, I will talk to you guys later. Thanks.